In the remote reaches of northern Mongolia, where the Sayan and Koridol Saridag mountains rise like ancient sentinels, a vast wilderness unfolds, a realm sculpted by ice, wind, and time. This is the Darhad Valley, a sanctuary at the heart of the Siberian taiga, where endless forests, sprawling steppe, and a mosaic of lakes and rivers converge to create one of the world's most pristine ecosystems. Here the land remains largely untouched by human hands, its silence broken only by the calls of wild creatures and the whisper of wind through ancient trees. The valley is alive with wildlife. Herds of reindeer and wild horses traverse the open grasslands, while elusive brown bears roam the riverbanks, searching for roots and berries in the shadow of towering pines. Rivers, fed by snowmelt and mountain springs, carve their way through the valley, nourishing a web of life that thrives in the cool, clean waters and lush riparian zones. The landscape is a living tapestry where dense forests give way to open steppe and wetlands, each habitat supporting its own unique community of plants and animals. Towering larch and pine forests cloak the mountain slopes, their thick canopies sheltering lynx, sable, and a chorus of songbirds that fill the air with their melodies. The valley floor stretches into vast grasslands, dotted with wildflowers and shimmering lakes, over 300 in all, each a mirror to the endless sky above. This extraordinary blend of habitats sustains a remarkable diversity of life, from the smallest insects to apex predators, all interconnected in a delicate ecological balance. Rare and secretive species, such as the Siberian musk deer and playful river otters, find refuge in the valley's secluded corners, thriving in the safety of this untouched wilderness. Overhead, golden eagles ride the thermals, scanning for prey, while the silent tracks of wolves and snow leopards mark the snow, evidence of the valley's wild and mysterious inhabitants. Yet even in this seemingly unspoiled paradise, subtle signs of change are visible: disturbed riverbanks, shifting vegetation, and the quiet encroachment of environmental stress. The valley's remoteness, once its greatest shield, now leaves it vulnerable to threats that creep in from beyond the horizon. As global demand for resources grows, the Darhad Valley's forests and rivers face mounting pressure, their future uncertain in the face of exploitation and environmental change. The ancient forests, once a haven for countless species, now show signs of strain, their habitats shrinking as the balance of nature is tested. The equilibrium that has defined this wilderness for millennia now teeters on the edge, its fate hanging in the balance as storms, both literal and metaphorical, gather on the horizon. Yet amidst the uncertainty, hope endures. New growth emerges from the forest floor, and the first light of dawn reveals a landscape still capable of renewal. The resilience of the taiga is embodied in its wildlife. Bears, wolves, and countless others adapt and persist, their presence a testament to the enduring strength of nature. As the seasons turn, the valley witnesses the return of life. Forests regenerate, animals reclaim their habitats, and the land begins to heal, one season at a time. The Valley of the Bears stands as a living testament to the power and fragility of the taiga, a place where wilderness endures and where the story of nature's resilience continues to unfold, undisturbed and magnificent. In the heart of Mongolia's northern wilderness, a remarkable mission unfolds, one that seeks to restore balance to the taiga and safeguard its wild inhabitants for generations to come. The taiga, once a thriving sanctuary for countless species, has faced decades of decline. Forests that echoed with the calls of wildlife have grown silent, and rivers that teemed with fish have run dry. Years of overhunting, illegal logging and environmental neglect following the collapse of the old political system left the land scarred and its ecosystems fragile. On long patrols through the snow-laden forests, only the faintest traces of wildlife remained. A single sable track, a fleeting shadow in the trees. Yet hope endures. Jal Tumursuk's mission is to revive this lost paradise, to bring back the vibrant pulse of life that once defined the taiga. Conservation here is a delicate balance. The wild predators must coexist with livestock, and the needs of local communities must be weighed against the survival of endangered species. The nomadic herders and the Sartan people depend on the land's health for their own survival. Tumursuk's vision is to unite people and nature, ensuring that both can thrive. Night after night, conservation patrols traverse the forests, monitoring animal populations and deterring illegal activities that threaten the fragile ecosystem. Under the vast Mongolian sky, the wilderness is both a place of solitude and hope, a reminder of what is at stake and what can be regained. The conservation effort is relentless. Rangers endure harsh winters and remote patrols, driven by a vision of renewal and the promise of a restored ecosystem. Each journey through the wilderness is a testament to resilience, a fight against the silence that once fell over the land. The taiga's recovery depends on the health of its forests, rivers, and the intricate web of life they support. Every animal that returns, every tree that stands tall, is a victory for conservation, a step toward restoring the natural harmony of the taiga. Endangered species like the snow leopard and red deer are slowly reclaiming their place, a sign that the ecosystem is healing. Rivers begin to flow with life once more, and the forests echo with the songs of returning birds. The smallest details, wildflowers blooming, insects pollinating, moss reclaiming ancient stones, signal the resilience of nature when given a chance to recover. Jal Tumursuk's mission is a testament to the power of dedication and the possibility of renewal. Through tireless conservation, the taiga's wild heart beats stronger with each passing season. The journey is far from over, but every sign of life is a promise, a future where Mongolia's wilderness thrives once again, protected for all who call it home. In the early 2000s, the Dahad Valley faced a crisis that would forever alter its wilderness. The arrival of the gold rush marked the beginning of a relentless assault on the land itself. The once pristine valley was transformed as the earth was torn open, riverbanks collapsed, and the taiga's ancient trees were stripped away. The landscape, once shaped by centuries of natural balance, became a patchwork of scars and wounds. Rivers that once ran clear and fast now flowed thick with mud, their beds gouged by deep trenches. The water, once a lifeline for all living things, turned brown and lifeless, unable to support the delicate web of life that depended on it. Mercury, used to separate gold from silt, seeped into the waterways, poisoning fish and insects. Dead fish floated on the surface, and the riverbanks, once alive with birdsong, fell silent. The river ecosystems collapsed. Eroded banks gave way to barren mud, and the intricate network of plants and animals that once thrived along the water's edge vanished. The gold rush's impact rippled outward, drying up pastures and emptying fields. Wildlife, sensing the danger, began to move away from the devastated areas, abandoning their ancestral homes. Fish populations plummeted, leaving empty fishing spots and barren riverbeds. The forests, once dense and vibrant, became trampled and chaotic, their undergrowth crushed by the relentless intrusion. Animal trails faded from the landscape, and clearings that once echoed with the calls of deer and boar now stood silent. The animals, forced from their habitats, altered their behaviour, moving under cover of darkness, avoiding open spaces, and abandoning traditional migration routes. Meadows and taiga, once teeming with life, became empty and still. Tracks in the mud told stories of animals passing through, searching for food and water that were no longer there. The forest floor, once a tapestry of moss and wildflowers, was reduced to broken branches and scattered debris. The wilderness, stripped of its guardians, became a place of uncertainty and loss. Mist clung to the ruined valleys, shrouding the scars in silence. The land, once vibrant and full of promise, now bore the heavy shadow of the gold rush. Yet, even in the midst of devastation, the first signs of recovery began to appear. Tiny shoots of green pushing through the scarred earth, a quiet testament to the resilience of the wilderness. In the heart of the Mongolian taiga, a silent crisis once threatened to erase the wild spirit of the land. Jal Tumursukh, faced with dwindling wildlife and a forest echoing with the absence of its native creatures, realized that a new approach was needed, one as bold as the wilderness itself. Tumursukh understood that to outwit the illegal hunters, he needed allies who could move through the forest like shadows, those who knew every secret path, every animal's hiding place, and every subtle sign left in the snow. So he turned to the very people who once threatened the valley's future, the former poachers. Instead of punishment, he offered them a chance to redeem themselves, to use their deep knowledge of the land for protection rather than destruction. Many of these men had grown up alongside the animals they hunted. They could read the forest like a living map, sense the approach of a bear by the hush of birds, or track a wolf by the faintest imprint in the mud. Tumursuk's gamble was not without risk. He had to trust that these men, once driven by necessity or greed, could find a new sense of purpose. He looked for those who showed a glimmer of regret, or who had begun to question the path they were on. With a ranger's uniform and a steady income, these former poachers became guardians of the wilderness. Their transformation was mirrored in the animals they now protected. In the early days, the animals were wary. A mother bear, once forced to hide her cubs from gunshots, was seen leading them confidently to a riverbank. Herds of deer, once scattered and skittish, began to gather again in the open meadows, their numbers slowly rising. The new rangers used their old skills to anticipate every move of the remaining poachers. They dismantled snares before they could harm, tracked illegal campsites, and protected vulnerable dens during birthing season. Their knowledge was invaluable. In one remarkable event, a pack of wolves, once nearly wiped out, was spotted teaching their pups to hunt in a clearing, an occurrence not seen in years. The poachers who remained found themselves outmanoeuvred at every turn. The animals, too, seemed to sense the change. A lone wolf, once a symbol of fear, now stood as a sentinel, watching over the valley with renewed confidence. As the illegal guns disappeared, the land began to heal. Grasslands once trampled by fear now bloomed with wildflowers. Streams ran clear, and the chorus of birds returned to the dawn. The transformation was not just in numbers, but in the stories unfolding across the valley. A wounded elk, once left to die in a snare, was rescued by rangers and later seen leading its own herd. A bear cub, orphaned by poaching, was adopted by another female and survived to adulthood. These stories became legends, shared among the rangers and whispered through the forests. The valley, once a battleground, became a sanctuary, a place where both animals and people found new beginnings. By turning adversaries into allies, Tumursuk's vision reshaped not only the fate of the wildlife, but the very soul of the Darhad Valley. The message was clear: even in the wildest places, hope can take root and redemption can flourish. As the rangers made progress against poaching and mining, a new crisis began to unfold, one that originated far beyond Mongolia's borders. The taiga, once a stable refuge for countless species, was now under siege from a changing climate. Prolonged droughts, driven by rising global temperatures, swept across Siberia, transforming lush forests into brittle tinderboxes. The earth cracked and the undergrowth withered, leaving the forest floor littered with dry leaves and branches. These conditions set the stage for catastrophic wildfires. When lightning struck or a careless spark ignited, flames raced through the taiga, consuming millions of acres and sending thick smoke billowing across the horizon. Wildlife fled in panic. Deer, elk, and smaller mammals scattered, their tracks etched in the ash. But for the brown bears, the devastation was especially dire. Driven from their dens by fire and smoke, bears wandered through scorched landscapes, their fur singed and their noses twitching for any sign of food. Some bears, disoriented and desperate, crossed into Mongolia, drawn by the scent of livestock grazing in the Darhad Valley. The valley, with its open pastures and abundance of prey, became an unintended sanctuary for these refugees. But hunger made the bears bold. Normally shy and elusive, bears began to emerge at dusk, skirting the edges of pastures and venturing closer to livestock herds. With berries and roots scarce in the burned forests, the bears turned to hunting sheep, goats, and even young horses. Their powerful claws left deep marks in the earth, and their presence sent livestock fleeing in terror. Tense standoffs became common. Bears, driven by hunger, sometimes stood their ground against herds, while livestock clustered together, eyes fixed on the looming threat. In the aftermath of a raid, overturned pens and missing animals told the story. In one chilling incident, a bear, having lost all fear of humans, attacked a herd at dawn, leaving only scattered tracks and silence behind. Rangers found evidence of bears with cubs, forced to roam far from their usual territories. Some cubs, too young to hunt, scavenged for scraps, their survival uncertain. The livestock, once indifferent to the forest, now watched the tree line with nervous anticipation, their instincts sharpened by nightly visits from hungry predators. Bears prowled the boundaries between forest and pasture, sometimes pausing in the open, torn between the safety of the woods and the promise of food. The environmental pressures were relentless. Melting permafrost and dying trees signalled a deeper crisis, one that left bears with fewer options and forced them into riskier behaviour. Smoke from distant fires drifted over the valley, a constant reminder that the forces driving these conflicts were global, not local. Conservation efforts that once focused on poaching now had to contend with the unpredictable consequences of climate change, drought, fire, and the desperate migration of wildlife. The bears, exhausted and often injured, wandered through unfamiliar terrain, sometimes pausing at the edge of settlements, uncertain and vulnerable. Occasionally, bears met each other in these new territories, sometimes peacefully, sometimes in competition for scarce resources. As dusk fell, some retreated into the shadows, while others pressed on, driven by hunger and the memory of lost forests. As the first light crept across the vast Mongolian wilderness, the forest awoke with a hush of anticipation. In the heart of this ancient land, a story was unfolding, one that would echo far beyond the silent trees and rolling hills. Deep within the tangled undergrowth, 3 bear cubs pressed close together, their small bodies trembling with uncertainty. Their mother, once their steadfast protector, had vanished, perhaps lost to the chaos of recent forest fires or the confusion that followed. Alone, the cubs faced a world suddenly immense and perilous. Hunger gnawed at their bellies, and every sound in the forest, every snap of a twig, every distant call, became a potential threat. Yet, in this moment of vulnerability, the forest itself seemed to hold its breath, as if the fate of these young bears was woven into the fate of the land. The cubs, guided by instinct, moved cautiously through the shadows, their tiny paws leaving faint impressions in the damp earth. They sniffed the air for traces of their mother, but only the scent of smoke and distant rain lingered. Each day they grew weaker, their playful curiosity replaced by a desperate will to survive. In the wild, survival is a delicate balance. The cubs' plight did not go unnoticed by the other creatures of the forest. Ravens circled overhead, foxes watched from a distance, and even the wind seemed to whisper warnings. The cubs, sensing danger, huddled deeper into the thickets, their eyes wide and alert. Then a unique event unfolded. The cubs, exhausted and hungry, stumbled upon a patch of wild berries, nature's small mercy. For a brief moment their spirits lifted as they feasted, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, the cubs found themselves in a new world, a temporary enclosure nestled within the forest, crafted from fallen branches and natural barriers. Here the air was filled with the scent of pine and the gentle sounds of other animals nearby. The cubs, though wary, began to explore, their noses twitching at unfamiliar smells. In this sanctuary the cubs received nourishment, a special formula that mimicked their mother's milk. Their strength slowly returned, and with it the spark of playfulness. They tumbled together, learning the boundaries of their new home, while the world beyond the forest began to take notice. News of the orphaned cubs spread across continents. From the perspective of the animals, the forest seemed to hum with a new energy, one of hope and unity. The cubs, once symbols of loss, became beacons of resilience, their story inspiring distant lands to care for the wild. Weeks passed and the cubs grew strong. The time came for their return to the wild, a place chosen for its abundance and safety, far from the reach of humans. The forest, ancient and wise, welcomed them back with open arms. Before their release, each cub was fitted with a lightweight GPS collar, a silent guardian that would allow their journey to be followed from afar. The collars, barely noticeable to the cubs, became their link to a world that now watched with hope. As the cubs bounded into the open meadows, the forest seemed to exhale in relief. Their journey, marked by loss and survival, had become a testament to the resilience of life and the interconnectedness of all creatures. In the fading light, the cubs disappeared into the wild, their future uncertain, but their spirits unbroken, a rescue for the ages, witnessed by the silent, watchful eyes of the Mongolian wilderness. Over the years, the Mongolian wilderness began to transform in ways few could have imagined. The relentless efforts of conservationists and rangers set in motion a profound ecological recovery, breathing new life into a landscape once marred by exploitation. Where mining scars once cut deep into the earth, a patchwork of green now spreads as native vegetation steadily reclaims the barren ground. The soil, enriched by years of careful stewardship, supports a resurgence of plant life, from delicate wildflowers to towering larch and pine. This botanical revival has laid the foundation for a dramatic return of wildlife. Meadows and forests, once eerily silent, now echo with the sounds of animals reclaiming their ancestral home. Trails that were once devoid of life now bear the imprints of countless creatures. The undergrowth is crisscrossed with fresh tracks, evidence of a thriving ecosystem in motion. In the clearings, herds of ibex, deer and wild boar move cautiously through the brush, their presence a testament to the land's renewed vitality. The taiga itself pulses with life. Birds flit between sun-dappled branches, while mammals forage and roam, each species playing its part in the intricate web of life. On the rocky slopes, ibex scale the cliffs with agility, their numbers growing as the habitat recovers. These wild goats, once rare, now thrive in the safety of the revitalized mountains. In the open grasslands, marl deer graze in growing herds. Their antlers rise above the tall grass, a symbol of the forest's health and the success of conservation. Wild boar, once nearly vanished, root through the leaf litter, turning the soil and aiding in the forest's regeneration. Their return marks a crucial step in restoring the natural balance. With the threat of illegal hunting diminished, these animals now inhabit a sanctuary where they can breed and flourish, ensuring the continuity of their species. The resurgence of prey species like ibex and deer has triggered a cascade of ecological benefits, supporting a more complex and resilient food web. As dawn breaks over the Sayan Mountains, the landscape reveals the subtle but profound changes brought by years of protection and patience. In 2019, a camera trap captured a moment that would redefine the valley's future. The unmistakable silhouette of a snow leopard moving silently across a moonlit ridge. This rare and elusive predator, unseen here for decades, had returned to its ancestral range. The snow leopard's presence is a powerful indicator of ecological health, signaling that the valley's food chain is once again intact. From its high vantage points, the snow leopard surveys a landscape transformed, one where prey is plentiful and the balance of nature restored. The coexistence of predator and prey, once disrupted, now flourishes, each species shaping and sustaining the other in a delicate equilibrium. The snow leopard's return also brings new ecological dynamics, influencing the behavior and distribution of other animals and maintaining the health of the entire ecosystem. Across the Dahad Valley, wildlife populations stabilize and diversify, creating a living mosaic of interdependent species. The snow leopard's status as a globally endangered species now anchors the valley's protection, making it a stronghold for conservation and a bulwark against future threats. The valley stands as a testament to nature's resilience, its forests and meadows safeguarded by the presence of this apex predator. Today, the landscape is vibrant and flourishing, a living example of ecological restoration on a grand scale. Herds of animals roam freely across the valley, their movements shaping the land and ensuring its continued renewal. As the sun rises over the untouched taiga, the Dahad Valley stands as a beacon of hope, a place where the wild has been given a second chance, and where the story of rebirth continues to unfold. In the heart of the Darhad Valley, the guardianship of the reindeer unfolds as a story of resilience, adaptation, and deep connection to the wild taiga. These reindeer, among the last of their kind to roam freely in Mongolia, have shaped the landscape as much as it has shaped them. Their migrations carve ancient trails through the dense forests, and their presence is a living testament to the endurance of life in one of the world's harshest environments. Each herd is a tapestry of stories, calves born in the hush of winter, elders who remember the roots through the oldest groves, and mothers guiding their young through the labyrinth of lichen and snow. The reindeer's survival depends on their ability to find lichen beneath the snow, a skill passed down through generations. In the biting cold, herds move with purpose, their hooves breaking the crust of ice to reveal the sustenance hidden below. Yet the environment they depend on is fragile. The scars of illegal mining and land degradation threaten the delicate balance, leaving riverbeds barren and pastures diminished. When migration routes are blocked or pastures are lost, the herds face hunger and uncertainty. In some winters, entire generations of calves have been lost to starvation, their stories ending before they begin. The wilderness itself becomes a silent witness to these struggles. Wolves and eagles, too, depend on the health of the herds, and the fate of the reindeer ripples through the entire ecosystem. In rare moments, wild horses graze alongside the reindeer, sharing the bounty of the valley. These encounters are fleeting, but they speak to the interconnectedness of all life here. The health of the forest is mirrored in the vitality of the herds. When the trees flourish and the undergrowth is rich, the reindeer thrive, and the valley echoes with the sounds of new life. During the long migrations, the reindeer demonstrate remarkable endurance. They cross rivers swollen with meltwater and climb steep ridges, always searching for the next patch of lichen. In the harshest winters, known as Zood, the herds face their greatest trials. Snow piles deep, and ice locks away the food they need. Survival depends on finding shelter and the rare open ground where lichen is still accessible. In these moments, the resilience of the reindeer is tested. Calves huddle close to their mothers, and the strongest lead the way, breaking trails through the drifts. Sometimes a calf is lost in the snow, only to be found days later, miraculously alive, guided by the herd's calls and the warmth of the group. As dawn breaks over the taiga, the herds gather beneath ancient trees, their breath rising in clouds. Here, the guardianship of the reindeer is renewed each day, a cycle as old as the forest itself. The reindeer's keen senses alert them to danger, wolves on the prowl, storms on the horizon. Their survival is a testament to their adaptability and the wisdom encoded in their instincts. Standing atop a ridge, a lead reindeer surveys the valley, its antlers silhouetted against the sky. It is both sentinel and symbol, a guardian of the wild. Each migration, each birth, and each survival through the winter is a unique event, woven into the fabric of the valley's story. In protecting the reindeer, the valley itself is protected. The guardianship of these remarkable animals ensures that the wild heart of Mongolia continues to beat, strong and free, for generations to come. Mongolia's Green Pledge is a sweeping national commitment to preserve one of the world's last great wildernesses. The Darhad Valley's remarkable recovery is just one chapter in a much broader story, one that spans the country's immense grasslands, deserts, forests and mountains. Mongolia recognizes that its wild landscapes are not only its greatest natural treasure, but also vital to the planet's ecological balance. These vast, unspoiled regions are home to a stunning diversity of life, from the rolling steppe where wild taki, Przewalski's horses, gallop freely, to the snow-capped peaks where elusive snow leopards prowl. Today, over 21% of Mongolia's territory is officially protected, encompassing a mosaic of national parks, nature reserves, and strictly regulated zones. This network stretches from the arid dunes of the Gobi Desert, where rare Taiga antelope roam, to the dense Taiga forests in the north, sheltering brown bears, wolves, and a rich tapestry of plant life. These protected areas are more than boundaries on a map. They are living laboratories where ancient ecosystems persist and evolve. In the wetlands, migratory cranes gather in the thousands, while crystal-clear rivers support endemic fish and amphibians found nowhere else on Earth. Mongolia's environmental initiatives are both ambitious and deeply rooted in tradition. The government has pledged to expand protected lands to 30% by 2030, aligning with the global 30 by 30 movement. This bold target is supported by science-based conservation planning, habitat restoration, and the integration of indigenous ecological knowledge. Innovative projects are underway to restore degraded grasslands, reintroduce endangered species, and monitor wildlife populations using advanced technology. In the steppe, herds of taki have been successfully re-established after near extinction, while in the mountains, camera traps capture rare glimpses of snow leopards and argali sheep. Mongolia's unique climate and geography create a patchwork of micro-ecosystems, from alpine tundra to saline lakes. Each supports specialized flora and fauna, tiny mosses and lichens clinging to ancient rocks, wildflowers pollinated by native bees, and resilient trees pushing through rocky soil. The country's commitment to conservation is also a pledge to future generations. By protecting these wild places, Mongolia safeguards vital ecosystem services, clean water, carbon storage, and the genetic diversity that underpins resilience in a changing climate. The Darhad Valley stands as a beacon of what is possible. Here, wildlife is returning, forests are regenerating, and rivers run clear once more. The lessons learned about community stewardship, creative problem-solving, and the power of local knowledge are guiding conservation efforts across the nation. As Mongolia moves toward its 30% target, the focus remains on realistic, science-driven solutions. Conservationists are working to balance the needs of wildlife with sustainable land use, ensuring that both nature and traditional livelihoods can thrive. The future of Mongolia's wilderness is bright. With steadfast political will, innovative environmental initiatives, and the enduring resilience of its ecosystems, Mongolia is forging a path for the world, demonstrating that even in the face of climate change and resource pressures, it is possible to heal landscapes and protect the wild heart of a nation. Mongolia's Green Pledge is more than a policy. It is a living promise, written across the valleys, forests and mountains, and echoed in the calls of cranes, the thunder of wild horses, and the silent resilience of ancient trees. It is a testament to the enduring power of nature, and to the vision of a country determined to protect it for generations to come. In the Valley of the Bears, time is measured not by clocks, but by the ancient pulse of the seasons, a cycle as old as the taiga itself. As winter loosens its icy grip, the valley awakens in a hush of thawing snow. Streams, once frozen solid, begin to murmur beneath fragile ice, sending ribbons of meltwater weaving through the awakening forest. Brown bears emerge from their dens, groggy and lean, their fur dusted with remnants of frost. Driven by hunger, they scour the riverbanks for roots, and early shoots, while scavenging for carcasses left from the long, harsh winter. Spring's arrival transforms the landscape in a matter of weeks. Larch trees, skeletal and bare, burst into clouds of soft green needles. Wildflowers, edelweiss, Siberian primrose and alpine poppies, dot the meadows, feeding the first bees and butterflies of the year. Elk and moose, their coats molting from winter grey to summer russet, migrate to higher ground in search of fresh grazing. In the rivers, taimen, the world's largest salmon, begin their upstream journey, their silvery bodies flashing beneath the crystal-clear water. By midsummer, the valley is at its most abundant. Daylight lingers late into the evening, bathing the forest in a golden glow. The air is alive with the calls of warblers and the drumming of woodpeckers. Bears, now sleek and strong, gorge on berries and fish, building reserves for the seasons ahead. Overhead, black kites and golden eagles ride thermals, scanning the ground for unwary rodents and hares. In shaded glens, rare orchids bloom, their intricate petals attracting elusive pollinators. Autumn arrives in a blaze of colour. Larch and birch trees ignite in shades of amber and gold, carpeting the forest floor with a tapestry of fallen leaves. Animals sense the urgency of the coming cold. Squirrels and chipmunks cache seeds and nuts, while red foxes grow thick winter coats. The bears feast on the last of the season's bounty, fat salmon and ripened fruit, before retreating to their dens once more. Flocks of cranes and geese gather in the wetlands, their calls echoing across the valley as they prepare for their long migration south. Then, as the first snowflakes drift down, the valley hushes. A crystalline silence settles over the land. Streams freeze, and a thick blanket of snow muffles every sound. Beneath the surface, life endures. Hibernating frogs buried in mud, voles tunnelling under the snow, and taimen resting in the deepest pools. The brown bears sleep, their breath slow and steady, awaiting the return of spring. Through each season, the Valley of the Bears is a living testament to adaptation and resilience. Every creature, from the smallest insect to the mightiest bear, is finely tuned to the rhythms of the land. The landscape itself is in constant transformation, a dynamic mosaic shaped by temperature, light, and water. Here, the passage of time is not only marked by change, but by survival and renewal. In the heart of Mongolia's wilderness, nature's choreography plays out season after season, a silent promise that life, in all its remarkable forms, will endure. Beneath the towering larch and birch, another world flourishes, one seldom seen, yet vital to the Valley of the Bears. This is the realm of the taiga's rare plant species, each a quiet marvel of adaptation and resilience. Low to the ground, the ghostly Siberian fawn, lily, pushes through the last snows, its delicate white petals reflecting the weak spring sunlight. The lily's bulbs store energy through the harsh winter, allowing it to bloom before the trees cast their summer shade. Nearby, the elusive lady's slipper orchid unfurls its intricate blossoms. Its pouch-like flower is more than just beauty. It's a clever trap, luring pollinators deep inside and ensuring the orchid's pollen is carried far and wide. In the wetter hollows, clusters of Mongolian globe flower blaze like lanterns, their golden orbs attracting early flying bees. Along the riverbanks, the rare Japanese rose creeps, its thorny stems anchoring the soil and preventing erosion when spring floods arrive. Some plants thrive where few others can. The Siberian pine, its roots entwined in rocky soil, exudes a resin that deters insects and fungi. Its needles fall to the forest floor, creating a thick, acidic carpet where only the hardiest mosses and lichens survive. These mosses, in turn, retain moisture and provide nesting sites for tiny forest creatures. The taiga's wild berries, cloudberry, lingonberry and Siberian blueberry, are a lifeline for wildlife. Their fruits ripen in the short summer, feeding birds, bears and even small rodents. Yet their survival is a race against time and frost. Some, like the lingonberry, employ evergreen leaves coated in a waxy film, resisting dehydration during winter's freeze and spring's thaw. Beneath the surface, a vast network of mycorrhizal fungi weaves through the roots of nearly every tree and shrub. These hidden partners ferry nutrients and water between plants, forming an underground web that allows the forest to thrive even in poor soils. Every rare plant in the taiga plays a part in this intricate tapestry, stabilizing the earth, feeding the hungry, and sheltering the vulnerable. Their survival strategies, honed by millennia of harsh winters and fleeting summers, are a testament to nature's ingenuity. In the Valley of the Bears, the secret life of plants is as dramatic and essential as any predator's hunt or migration. They are the silent architects of the taiga, shaping the land, sustaining its creatures and enduring season after season in the world's wild heart. In the Valley of the Bears, life's most ancient drama unfolds each day, a delicate dance of predator and prey, shaped by the taiga's unforgiving rhythms. Here, every creature, from the smallest rodent to the apex bear, is both hunter and hunted, bound by the invisible threads of survival. As dawn breaks, the red fox emerges from its den, its russet coat blending seamlessly with the undergrowth. Keen ears twitch at the faintest rustle, a Siberian vole scurrying beneath the moss. The fox moves with calculated patience, freezing mid-step, then pouncing in a blur of motion. Yet the vole's maze of tunnels offers refuge, and the fox must try again, persistence its only guarantee against hunger. Above, in the canopy, a pair of Ural owls survey the forest floor. Their silent wings carry them between the shadows as they hunt for shrews and young hares. With eyesight adapted to the dim taiga light, these nocturnal hunters strike with precision, their talons ending the chase in a heartbeat. But the predators, too, are watched. From the branches, a sable weasel eyes the fox, ready to seize any scraps left behind. The sable's agility and cunning make it a master opportunist, snatching eggs from hidden nests or raiding the caches of chipmunks. In the open glades, herds of wild boar root through the earth, their constant motion stirring up insects and seeds. For the valley's wolves, these boars are formidable prey. Protected by thick hides and sharp tusks, but vulnerable when separated from the group. The wolves communicate in near silence, working as a pack to isolate the weak or the young, their strategy honed by countless failed attempts and hard-won meals. Meanwhile, the valley's namesake, its bears, move with slow deliberation. In early spring, they dig for roots and insects, but as salmon fill the rivers, bears become patient anglers, using their strength and skill to outmaneuver the slippery fish. Cubs watch and learn, their play mimicking the hunting techniques they will need to survive. Yet not every chase ends in capture. The prey, alert deer, nimble hares, vigilant birds, rely on camouflage, speed, and the valley's dense cover to tip the scales in their favour. Their survival means the cycle continues, ensuring both predator and prey endure. In this intricate web, even the smallest change, an early thaw, a late snowfall, a failed berry crop, can tilt the balance. The Valley of the Bears thrives not because of domination, but through adaptation, resilience, and the endless interplay of risk and reward. This is nature's choreography, where every pursuit, escape, and narrow miss weaves the fabric of life in the taiga, unseen by most, but vital to all who call this wild heartland home. In the Valley of the Bears, the ancient rhythms are changing. Subtle at first, a week's early thaw, a river flowing faster with meltwater, a haze of pollen drifting sooner than before. But beneath these quiet signals, the taiga is undergoing a transformation, shaped by the relentless advance of climate change. The animals sense it in their bones. Brown bears, emerging from hibernation, find the snow retreating earlier each year. The familiar bounty of spring roots and shoots is now offset by unpredictable frosts, leaving hungry mothers to forage farther and longer. Salmon runs, once synchronized with the melt, now arrive out of step, testing the patience and timing of the waiting bears. For the valley's smaller residents, adaptation is a race against time. The Siberian vole, whose tunnels once provided cool refuge, now contends with soils that dry and crack, collapsing burrows and exposing nests. The red fox, opportunistic as ever, expands its hunting range, venturing into higher elevations where spruce saplings, once rare, now take root in the warming soil. Above, the Ural owls adjust their breeding cycles. Warmer winters mean earlier clutches, but sudden cold snaps can devastate fragile eggs. Some pairs succeed, others vanish, their absence noted only by the silence in the trees. The Flora, too, are in flux. Larch and pine seedlings sprout farther north, encroaching on tundra grasses. Wildflowers bloom out of season, their nectar missed by bees whose emergence is still governed by the old calendar. In the wetlands, mosses brown and recede, while invasive shrubs gain ground, altering the water table and the delicate balance of life it supports. Unique events punctuate this new era. Once rare wildfires now ignite with alarming frequency, their smoke drifting through the valley, reshaping habitats and forcing wildlife into unfamiliar patterns of movement. In their wake, pioneer species, birch, willow, fireweed, carpet the scorched earth, setting the stage for a different forest. But the story is not solely one of loss. Adaptation is the valley's oldest tradition. Some animals develop new hunting strategies, others form unexpected alliances. Plants shift their root depths and flowering times, seeking out new niches in a changing world. The valley becomes a living laboratory, each species writing its own chapter of resilience. In the Valley of the Bears, climate change is not an abstract threat. It is a daily reality, written in the migrations of birds, the timing of blooms, the ebb and flow of rivers. The taiga endures, battered but unbroken, as its inhabitants, plant and animal, navigate the uncertain path ahead, shaped by forces both ancient and entirely new. Beneath the towering pines and silent larch, a secret network pulses through the valley, its hidden waterways. Crystal-clear streams thread their way across the landscape, carving narrow channels through moss and roots, their origins lost in the melt of distant peaks. These veins of life sustain the taiga, nurturing an intricate web of aquatic existence. In the shadowed pools, the taimen reigns, an ancient salmonid, silver-scaled and powerful, gliding through cold currents with effortless grace. Few ever glimpse these river giants, yet their presence shapes the balance of this world. Alongside them, schools of lennock dart between stones, their golden bodies flashing in the filtered light, while the elusive Amur catfish lurks in deeper eddies, waiting for dusk to stir. Beneath the surface, a quieter drama unfolds. Tiny freshwater mussels anchor themselves to the gravel, filtering water and providing shelter for mayfly larvae. Caddisfly nymphs, armoured in handmade cases of sand and twig, creep along the stream bed, each movement a testament to ingenuity and survival. Dragonfly larvae, patient predators, lurk among the reeds, future masters of the air, for now bound to their aquatic cradle. The waterways are not just home to fish and invertebrates. Otters, sinuous and playful, slide through the channels, hunting for crayfish and frogs. In tranquil backwaters, the rare Siberian salamander, a relic of ancient ice ages, rests beneath submerged logs, able to survive when water turns to ice. Waterfowl find sanctuary here as well. Mandarin ducks, resplendent in their autumn plumage, nest in hollow trees overhanging the banks, while mergansers skim the surface, eyes sharp for the flicker of fins below. On the mudflats, sandpipers probe for insects, their reflections fleeting in the morning mist. These waterways do more than sustain life. They shape the valley's destiny. During spring floods, they replenish wetlands and nourish the roots of ancient forests. In the dry heat of summer, they become lifelines, shrinking yet persistent, drawing all creatures, predator and prey, toward their cool embrace. Yet their health is fragile. Silt from distant lands, invasive weeds, and shifting water temperatures threaten the delicate balance. When the streams run clear and cold, the valley thrives. When they falter, the repercussions ripple outward, touching every inhabitant, from bear to beetle. In the Valley of the Bears, the waterways remain hidden to most, but their influence is everywhere. Whispered in the rustle of reeds, glimpsed in the leap of a fish, echoed in the chorus of frogs at dusk. They are the silent architects of life, ancient and essential, weaving together the wild tapestry of the taiga. As twilight deepens and the last rays of sun slip behind the larch-clad ridges, a transformation sweeps across the valley of the bears. Daytime voices fall silent, and the taiga's nocturnal chorus awakens, subtle, secretive, and alive with ancient rhythms. In the hush of darkness, owl silhouettes drift between tree trunks. The Ural owl, ghostly pale and silent-winged, glides just above the forest floor, its keen hearing detecting the faintest rustle of vole or shrew. From a mossy perch, the Eurasian eagle owl surveys the moonlit understory, amber eyes catching the glint of movement far below. Deeper in the brush, the sable, sleek and elusive, emerges from its hollow log. Under the cover of night, it hunts with nimble precision, weaving through ferns in pursuit of mice and birds' eggs. The valley's foxes, their coats burnished gold by moonlight, prowl along the water's edge, noses twitching as they track frogs and insects in the cool night air. High above, bats flit in erratic patterns, tiny Daubenton's bats skimming the streams, snapping up mayflies and mosquitoes with acrobatic ease. The air hums with their quiet echolocation, a sonar symphony imperceptible to the daytime world. In the wetlands, amphibians make their presence known. The Siberian salamander, so rarely seen by day, creeps along the mucky banks, its ancient lineage echoed in its slow, deliberate movements. Frogs gather at flooded hollows, their calls overlapping in a resonant chorus that carries through the night. Even the valley's smallest residents seize the darkness. Moths with intricately patterned wings flutter between wildflowers, pollinating under the stars. Among the grasses, beetles and spiders emerge, their nightly foraging vital in turning over the soil and recycling nutrients for the coming dawn. Predator and prey move in a delicate dance, each step governed by instinct and the cover of shadows. The night is not just a time for hunting, it is a refuge, a stage for rituals and survival strategies honed over millennia. Above it all, the Milky Way spills across the sky, mirrored faintly in the valley's still pools. In this darkness, life thrives in forms and behaviours unseen by day, reminding us that the valley never truly sleeps. Its wild heart beats on, pulsing strongest when the world is draped in velvet night.